And we are live. Welcome for this weekly live stream on the latest and greatest news in Ethereum and DeFi. And today we'll be talking about a couple of stuff. First, Filecoin, which just launched its mainnet network last week. We'll talk of whether or not it's still worth it to invest in the Filecoin tokens now. We'll talk about news about your favorite DeFi developer, Cronje, and also big news about Layer 2. We'll also talk of NFT and a new marketplace you have to know, and many other stuff. And as usual, we'll do the Q&A at the end. If you don't know me, I'm Julian, your host, and on my channel, Eat the Blocks, I teach blockchain development and how to find your first blockchain job. And before we continue, quick shout out to my two courses if you want to become a professional blockchain developer and make $100,000 a year like I used to make. Check out my course, 6-Figure Blockchain Developer. And if you are interested in profitable flash loan with arbitrage, check my other course on flash loan. All right. So hi to people in the chat. Hi Felix, hi Eric, hi Pierre, hi THX, hi everybody. So we're gonna start with the price of Ethereum as usual. So this week we're going down a little bit. I think that people are waiting for the result of the talk for the stimulus package in the US, and it's going to influence the stock market, and then it's going to influence Bitcoin and Ether. But one thing that I think is pretty bullish is I do think this stimulus talk will end before the election, so hopefully we'll have a nice boost here. And also there was news this week that Grayscale, which is a big crypto fund, is investing more and more in Ether, so it's going to really support the market. Okay, so as you know, I'd like to keep an eye on the gas price because that's super important. So the cooling off of the gas price continues. I think this week we've seen regularly gas prices of about 15 Gwei. I mean, it's been such a long time since we last heard about gas prices like this. This summer it was crazy. It was like 200, 300 Gwei. So finally it's coming down to almost reasonable level. So obviously this is related to the decrease in yield farming activities. So that means we can use our favorite DeFi protocol without paying a fortune for every trade. So all in all, this is good. So now we're going to switch to the market cap and the price of DeFi tokens. So this week for the whole market cap of DeFi, we're at 18 billion. So it's barely more than last week when we were at 11 billion something. We are still going sideways, so clearly there is a slowdown. But at the same time, it's still hold on. It doesn't really crash. So I would say it's not so bad. When it comes to the crypto tokens, so we do have a lot of red. So here, if you see the negative performance, we really have a lot of red. The token governance of Metastable, Curve, Swerve, which is a fork of Curve, Land, Pickle, Aave, we really have a lot of red. And if you see the green, we do have some green, but much less. These tokens, I have no idea about this project, never heard of them. Ample token here, yeah, that's the first like famous one I see in the green. What else? Yeah, Gen BTC, Rap BTC, barely positive, but yeah, so that's yeah, not a great week for DeFi tokens. So then we're going to talk of the rate. So what do we have to notice this week for the rate? So for DAI, we have 6% on DYDX. So yeah, 6%, that's pretty cool. Then Uni tokens, we have 16.57% on compound. So yeah, that's very healthy yield here. So then that's it for market cap and DeFi token prices. And next we're going to switch to the news about DeFi protocols. So of course, the main news for this week is for Filecoin. So oops, there's problem with their website. Okay. Yeah, the website is like pretty fancy. It has like some really fancy animation. So the big news of this week is the launch of the mainnet of Filecoin. After 3 years of development and a couple of delay, investors started to be really frustrated, but yeah, finally it was launched. So what is Filecoin? Filecoin is a decentralized storage solution. So it aims at competing with existing cloud technologies by offering better prices, faster data access, and also censorship resistance. So I want to talk about the technology and also about the price of the token. So first we start with the tech, because if you want to understand the price of the token, you need to understand the tech. Hello, am I back live? I think so. Hey, can you guys confirm me I'm back online? Because okay, so there was a crash, my computer crashed and I just restarted everything. Is it working? I think so. Can you guys hear me? Can you confirm in the chat? It seems you guys hear me. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so sorry, I think I had too many tabs open. Yeah, that really sucks. So okay, so that basically messed up my whole presentation. I've prepared like all the tab for everything. So yeah, it's just gonna be me talking now. So yeah, so I was talking of IPFS. Yeah, so basically Filecoin is built on top of IPFS, and we need to understand what is IPFS first if we want to understand what is Filecoin. So IPFS is a decentralized network for storing data. So with IPFS, you can store and retrieve data in a decentralized way by connecting to all the computers that are part of the IPFS network. So everybody can participate in the IPFS network, and you don't need to stake any coin. You only need to run an IPFS node on a server. That's it. So one key element of IPFS is the idea of hash. So when you want to retrieve data on IPFS, you don't specify a URL like on the web, but instead you specify the hash of the data you want to retrieve. So, or in other words, you specify the signature of the data. So when you want to retrieve data from the network, you can check that the data is correct by calculating the hash of the data and making sure it's equal to the original hash that you used to retrieve the data. So that's how you can protect against data corruption and people and not honest network participants who will try to fool you. So when you want to retrieve, so there is a limitation of IPFS, and it's very important to understand it because the whole point of Filecoin is to solve this limitation. So on IPFS, when you upload data on the network, it's only uploaded on your local IPFS node. After 2 days, the data on your node is automatically removed. So if you want to keep it, you need to pin it. And if you want others to pin it, for redundancy, for example, you need to convince them to do it. So it will cost them money to store your data on a node, so you need to pay them. So what if you are not a technical user? You don't want to run your own IPFS node, and also how you can find other IPFS node operators to store your data. So Filecoin solved this problem by building a marketplace on top of IPFS. So with Filecoin, you can easily find IPFS node operators who are willing to host your data in exchange of money. So we call these IPFS node operators miners. This marketplace is implemented in a blockchain where miners have to upload a proof that they actually store the data. And once they upload this proof, they can get paid in the File token, the token of Filecoin. So now we're going to talk of the token of Filecoin, try to understand its valuation. So Filecoin raised about $200 million for its ICO in 2017 as well as $50 million from VC. So it's probably enough to last a few years. So the token of Filecoin is called FIL, so that's a token ticker, and there are about 200 million FIL token issued, but only about 15 million are in circulation. So the rest will be distributed progressively to early investors over the next few years. So it's never good when you have such a low proportion that is in circulation, because you always have the risk that the massive supply of remaining token can be dumped in the future. But in this case, the release is going to be quite progressive. So in terms of ICO prices, so during the advisory sale, so that's where you had like all the whales, all the VC, the price of the token was 75 cents. And then in a general token sale, so in other words, for the rest of us, the price of the token was $1 to $6. And yeah, so when you so that's how much these guys have bought at the ICO, and the current market cap of the token is 500 million. So the Filecoin Mainnet launched on October 16, and then the FIL token started to trade the same day. So it reached a peak price of more than 100 US, which is 100 times more than for the early investors. So obviously these guys who invested early in the ICO like profited massively, and since then it came back down to about $30. So what about now? Is it still worth it to buy some FIL token? So it's not obvious to give an obvious to give a yes or no answer, but I'm going to answer this question by talking of the pros and cons. So on the positive side, Johan Bennett, so he's the creator of Filecoin, and he's also the creator of IPFS, the technology Filecoin is based on. That's why technically I really trust the team of Filecoin. So IPFS is an open source project that is very active, and it's already been running in production for a few years. So we can say that Filecoin is really built on solid foundation. So it's another really positive point. It's possible that in the future it will become standard for decentralized applications to host their front end on IPFS using Filecoin. Currently, dApps host their front end on centralized server, so they're not truly 100% decentralized. For example, we saw that when last year the US government demanded that Uniswap block certain sanctioned countries from its front end. So if you have a community-based front end that is deployed on IPFS, you will never have this problem. So if dApps really grow in volume, Filecoin will really benefit from it. Also, another very positive point is that Filecoin has raised 52 million from some of the most prestigious VCs like Anderson Horowitz, Sequoia. These guys are really smart. So it's always a very positive signal to have a project be backed by such VCs and not just retail investors. So that was for the positive side. Now, on the negative side, there is a lot of competition. Siacoin, Cronje, not to mention Amazon S3 service. So it's one of the main promises of Filecoin is to offer a cheaper storage solution than existing cloud providers, but I really don't see how it's possible. A lot of Filecoin miners will probably use Amazon cloud services to host their Filecoin node. So if they run their own physical server, that's another story, but probably at least at the beginning they will use Amazon. So they will have the cost of Amazon plus the cost of Filecoin. So for me, it has to be more expensive than Amazon S3. Also, second negative point is the kind of users who really care about censorship resistance is the crowd of privacy-focused users. So this is basically the kind of user that would use Brave or Mozilla browser. So Brave is growing fast, but Mozilla is really not doing great. So I'm not really sure what is the size of this crowd that really care about privacy. That's pretty negative point. And also, we heard about miners who, so Filecoin miners who complain that running a Filecoin node is really expensive. So on Twitter, you had a lot of people who complained about this, and as a result, there was a huge proportion of the miners of Filecoin who just stopped mining, at least temporarily. So maybe that the developer of Filecoin will have to adjust some parameters. But yeah, so at least it explains why the price of the token has dropped a lot to about $30. So I would say a lot of coins, but of positive side, but also a lot of negative thing. So all in all, I'm kind of neutral on Filecoin. I don't really have a strong opinion in either direction. But this is a solid project, technically at least. Okay, so next, I want to talk about our favorite developer, Cronje. So Cronje released a new blog post where he says that he does not build for speculators because he's really tired of just releasing a product that is not ready and have people invest in it. But guess what? The same thing happened again because he was working on a new token for governance. And so he said on his Medium blog that this new token has absolutely no value, but people still started to send money to it. Someone even bought for like $200,000 of this new token. So I think people, how do you say, they know the deal with Cronje. They know how it works, but they still ignore his warnings because they know that there will be people who buy his token no matter what. So any new project of Cronje has speculative value no matter what Cronje does or says. So I do think that now should acknowledge this fact and not just hide the fact that he just said to people not to invest in his project, because like he knows what's going to happen. It's what people will do. So maybe it's time to test his project on testnet and not on mainnet like Cronje. So I don't know if you guys follow what happened with EMN. So EMN was basically a game that was developed by Cronje, and so as usual he tests on mainnet. And some people sent some money to this the smart contract of the game, even though it wasn't finished. And there was a critical security bug inside, and so much money was stolen by a hacker who found the vulnerability. I think there was like $15 million that were stolen, and so a lot of the investors that lost money during this event, they decided to do a lawsuit against Cronje. So this is really crazy. I really don't see how in the world they would win this lawsuit of time and money wasted in lawyer fees. So yeah, I just think these guys are really irresponsible for both first investing in a not released product and then like suing Cronje who never promised anything. I think this is totally baseless, and these guys are just wasting their time like just massively. Okay, so next I want to talk of layer 2. So on layer 2, couple of news. So Coinbase wallet, so that's the mobile wallet of Coinbase, is testing the Optimism scaling solution, and Synthetics is also moving to phase 2 of his own trial of Optimism sidechain. So Optimism sidechain is a L2 scaling solution based on zero knowledge rollup. So you have like two companies that are using it to do some trial. So yeah, it seems like pretty bullish for Optimism, and I hope that by the end of the year we'll see at least one major DeFi project that has moved to L2 scaling solution on Ethereum. You also have Polymarket, a prediction market, which is also moving to layer 2. So we're gonna see more and more news about layer 2 by the end of the year. Okay, so next I want to talk of NFTs. So NFTs, so there is this new marketplace that's called Superrare. So Superrare. So Superrare is the largest digital art gallery. So it's a little bit like a combination of Instagram and Christie's, and digital art volume is growing super fast at like almost 50% months over months. And Superrare As I'm gonna put the name in the chat because maybe I don't pronounce it right. Super Rare, and so it has 83% of the market share, and so most of the volume is coming from the primary market auctions. That means when a creator puts their creation for sale for the first time, and the rest of the market is collectors who resell the NFT. So the two most successful super rare creators have earned $276,000 and $100,000 respectively in this year alone. So that really show you that you can really make a lot of money with NFT. And Super Rare takes a 15% commission. So we don't really have any basis for comparison. So it seems high if you ask me, but actually we do have a basis for comparison. So in the traditional art world, art gallery, they will take 40 to 50% commission. So 15% commission in comparison, that's much, much lower. So in total, artists have earned over 8 million on Super Rare, and collectors have earned about $900,000 from secondary sales. So yeah, it could be like some alternative way of making money on blockchain by buying some NFT and reselling them. But a big problem of NFT is that some NFT and reselling them. But a big problem of NFT is that they are non-fungible. So probably we're going to see some sort of product where we can that can turn non-fungible NFT into fungible NFT. And actually, I released a tutorial just on this topic last week on my channel. So check it out if you're interested. So next, we're going to talk of investment. So this quarter of 2020, there was $900 million of VC money that was invested in crypto companies. So how big is this? Let me give you some element of comparison. So you can compare this to about $500 million that were invested last year for the whole year, and $600 million that were invested during the first half of this year. So clearly the trend is accelerating. In one quarter, we had more money invested by VC to crypto companies than during the whole year, during the whole time last year. And this is happening during the year of COVID, when the whole world economy is crashing. So can you imagine what it's going to be when the whole world economy is going to be back on track? I mean, this is going to be a real gold rush. This is going to be insane. So you have to be ready before the gold rush starts. Otherwise, you will be trampled by the crowd. And that means if you're not already a blockchain developer, you need to start learning now. Okay, so next, we're going to talk of a few projects that have raised money recently. So Aave, which is a big DeFi favorite, raised $25 million last week. And this comes after a previous round of $3 million that were raised in July. So if you don't know Aave, that's basically a lending protocol similar to Compound. But what makes Aave really special is that they have a lot of extra features like delegated lending, where an address can let another address borrow on their behalf by providing collateral for the other address. And of course, Aave is Flash Loan, so they are actually the creator of the concept of Flash Loan. And second project that raised money this week is Boardroom, which raised $2.2 million. So I had no idea about Boardroom, but it's actually quite interesting. So what they do is they are a sort of zapper for a governance. So they create a single unified interface from which you can participate in the governance of multiple protocols like voting, staking, etc. So remember, the reason why I mention all of these VC investments is because when you have a company that raises money from VC, they have to spend the capital quickly. They just can't sit on the money and say, oh, we're just going to chill and keep it in the bank and wait a little bit, we want to play it safe. No, VC wants very high return on their investment and they want it to happen really fast. So a big part of this money will be used for hiring. So when you hear a blockchain company that just raised money from a VC, if you are looking for a blockchain job, it means it's time to send your CV. Don't wait. Absolutely don't wait. Okay, so next I want to talk a little bit about regulation. So last week, the SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce, I'm not sure if I pronounce well, it's basically some top executive that the SEC, he mentioned that DeFi governance tokens could potentially be classified as securities, and he mentioned explicitly Uni and the Sushi tokens, even airdropped as securities. So this comes in the context of BitMEX that was sued recently. So could they come for DeFi next? Well, there is not much regulation on DeFi so far, but apparently they're working on it. So if they do decide that DeFi tokens are securities, it will clearly be negative for the industry for sure. But until we have more news, more specific news about this, we really can't speculate too much. Also now, Spain is working on a bill to require crypto investors to disclose their holdings and profits. Yeah, I mean, at this stage, I think we can pretty much expect that this is going to be the case in most countries. Okay, and this week next, so usually I do a section for the news for developers, but this week really I didn't find anything especially interesting for that. So we're gonna move straight to the Q&A. So quickly, I'm just going to copy paste again the link to my 2 courses. So 6-figure blockchain developer and flash loan. Let me see. 6-figure blockchain developer and flash loan, my 2 courses. And after, I'm gonna go up in the chat and answer all the question. Q&A time. Okay, so let me scroll up. So question. So Willie Jang saying, I don't think blockchain can handle a huge amount of data. The Bitcoin and ETH transaction are slow and expensive. That's how you know blockchain capacity. Yes, I mean that's basically the big problem of whole industry is focused on solving that problem. What about Definity? I don't know about Definity. Roland is asking. So Saif is saying, are DEX like Uniswap a threat to exchanges like Coinbase? I mean, yes, absolutely. If you see the trading volume of Uniswap, it's actually now bigger than Coinbase, which was something unthinkable of even like 6 months ago. At the beginning of the year, Coinbase was like largely in front of Uniswap, so nobody could think that a couple of months after that Uniswap would be above. So yeah, of course, that's why Coinbase is adding DeFi feature so that people can still participate in DeFi, but from Coinbase. But what a lot of people in industry believe is that in the future, centralized exchanges, there will just be a on-ramp for fiat to DeFi. So people will use the KYC procedure of the centralized exchange, will buy some crypto, Ether, and after they will move to Uniswap, etc. Creative Takeover say how to start smart contract with Tron. So Tron is just a copy paste of Ethereum. So everything that you learn on my channel about Ethereum, Solidity, Truffle, etc., you can reuse everything. The only difference is maybe that they have renamed some of these technologies, so I'm not sure they use a Web3. Maybe they use a sort of fork of Web3. So you just have to learn like the name of their copy paste, but it's going to be largely the same thing. Steve is asking, can you do a video where you cover the main smart contract interface to interact when building an API for Uniswap? Yeah, I could do that. I have really a lot of video on Uniswap already. I have like an introduction to Uniswap v1, v2, how to tutorial, but how to build an API for DeFi. So maybe you can already start to look at this. Davion is saying, hey, I love your video on the Uniswap exchange. Would you do one on how to set it up on a local testnet? A local testnet. Yeah, I mean, I think the video I did was for a local. What do you mean a local testnet? You mean like Kovan, but you set it up yourself? I mean, this is